I really like Logitech stock right now. I think it fits into the value category almost perfectly for a couple of reasons. I mean, I like it more than just outside that. I mean, just its performance over the last 5 years beat the S&P 500 fairly significantly. The last 10 years, oh my gosh, it's blown it out of the water. If you factor in dividend, it has as well, right? Even if they've just hiked that up as of recent, they've done great. They've done really, really good. But I think it fits into the value category for two specific reasons. Right now, at least, PE ratio low, significantly below the S&P 500. Also, what they do specifically, right? They don't do anything super flashy, right? If you don't know what Logitech does, they mainly sell computer accessories, so keyboards, mouses, microphones, stuff like that, right? I believe the microphone I'm using is Logitech. If it's trash, maybe that's not a good endorsement, but I think it's mostly, I have no idea about audio settings. But anyways, they do a lot of that sort of stuff, right? Headsets, keyboards, racing wheels even, all the cordless, whatever, just a bunch of computer accessories. So that doesn't necessarily scream something that's going to 10x or 8x over 6x over a 10-year period. However, they did do that. Now, is this going to be a company that just blows it out of the water like an Nvidia, right? 10x or 12x or 50, it's not gonna, right? And that's priced into the stock, and it's probably going to forever be priced into the stock. Amazon and AMD and Nvidia, as long as these companies keep doing well, they're going to have significantly higher PE ratios than Logitech, and that's just going to exist. Even if this company does phenomenal, right? This company's done outstanding for what they do over the last 10 years. It's crazy, right? They've just done great. However, there's only so many avenues and ventures they can go into, and this isn't going to be a company that you see triple in a year unless it's just crazy undervalued or the market goes insane, right? It's just not going to happen. But this is a stock that has good leadership, clearly. You don't 6x in 10 years with poor leadership. You just, unless you're the luckiest thing alive, right? You just own a bunch of Bitcoin. That's not what's happening here. This is a good company. They are finding their market. They're selling their products well. My freaking mouse I'm using right now, I'm staring at it, Logitech, right? Like, it's simple, it's cheap, it's easy. I'm sure they do gaming stuff, but they also have stuff that works for offices and stuff. And these things are always going to exist, and there's always going to be a market for it in the next 20 years. It's not going to go away, right? This is a value stock, in my opinion. You can disagree. It pays a solid dividend. It's not a dividend portfolio stock, likely, but it's going to perform well. If the market utterly tanks, although you did see a really crazy run up in 2021, but everyone was using computer stuff then, right? So you can find many a stock that had an insane run up, but I don't think that necessarily dictates the actual. I'm sure we could probably take a peek here. I believe it goes into 2021. Oops, this is dividend. I did not want dividend. Although that's not necessarily a bad thing. I want earnings. Yeah, 2022. I mean, you can even see they're higher then. So they were clearly looking at inflated earnings, which is fine. Like, that happens. That happened during 2020. There's so many companies that were just insane during 2021. But this is clearly, and they have that upside then, right? This is a company that is well run, that is undervalued, right? Who knows what's truly undervalued, but it is lower than the S&P 500. They're going to do well. This is not a stock that's just going to disappear tomorrow, unlikely. It does have a smaller market cap of $13.5 billion, but there's only so many products they're selling, right? This isn't like, Amazon or Google or whatever. They aren't throwing huge quantities of product. Generally this stuff's fairly cheap, right? This isn't going to be a stock that is going to 6x, but this is a solid company with good leadership, a good track record, and it's not crazy valued. This is a value company. If you like value stocks, this is probably one of the better ones you're looking at in terms of performance over the last 10 years, right? I don't even know. You could probably, Campbell's Soup is Procter & Gamble, probably a value stock. I'm trying to think of some of the classic ones. I'm not a huge value investor. I think it's fine. It's kind of dead as of right now because tech's just been on an absolute tear over the last 10, 15 years, right? Certainly since '08. Tech's just been dominating the market. So value isn't as common. There's oftentimes, you see it even on the dividend and value stock subreddits. People will be like, oh, like basically tell you not to do it sometimes if you get the right comment section, like not to dividend invest or value invest. So there's not as much of a market for it. However, if you are a value investor, if you like this sort of thing, I like this stock. I generally invest in tech. This is one of the better value ones in my opinion because of the track record of it, because of the performance, because of, just all of it around it, right? So, and clearly there's still room to run at 13.5 billion market cap. The only negative of that is it's only so large. Or actually, it's not really large enough for, I'd actually prefer a little bit more size. But yeah, forward PE, relatively flat, but the way they've beat the last couple projections, they'll likely do it again. You're probably looking at closer to 18. Not a conservative estimate, but it's probably a realistic estimate, right? Been hiking the dividend like crazy. So maybe the dividend payment was a lot lower during this time period. But even then, it doesn't matter. It's done so well. And honestly, you'd probably prefer to look more at dividend than in saying, growth in the share price. It probably is better suited as a company that pays a dividend, honestly, for what they do. Schwab thinks it's a top 15 percentile stock. That's a very good rating. They think it's going to be the top 15% of stocks over the next year for share price performance. Believe it or not, most stocks go up, in the S&P 500, 10%? I guess most wouldn't because that's the average return. There's definitely some that lead. They project probably at least a 10% return, I'm assuming. Probably more. Economic moat, none. I disagree, right? They don't do anything super proprietary, so I'd say it's probably a 4 or a 5. But even then, I think Logitech as a brand has some awareness, right? Like, I recognize Logitech. I guarantee you, I know my brother's a big gamer. If I asked him, do you know the company Logitech? He'd say, absolutely, I do, right? Now, is it anything like flashy? Like, oh yeah, like bougie brand, like Nike shoes no, it's not like known as a top end stuff, but it has some brand awareness and they make good products and they're known to be reliable, at least from what I know. I mean, they're selling like they are. So I hate this 0, 3, 10 mindset, right? Because that's really what it reads as: none, narrow, wide. I'd give it probably a 4 or 5. So I'd give it narrow in this example. 3, 4, or 5. Long, hold, A. I've never seen a 10 out of 10 ESG score. I don't necessarily know how to react to that, but it's up there, right? It's high. I don't know enough about this to make any comments. Also, I know it gets political, so I try to generally go past it quickly. It is not necessarily an American company. They have headquarters in California and Switzerland. But if we're talking foreign stocks, it's about as good as you can get, right? Western country. So anyways, that's probably all I had. Let's look at a quick peek what some of these analysts say. Not a whole lot of analysts. Not a huge company. Half are saying buy, half are saying hold. So take that as you will. I don't put too much stock into analysts, but I think this is a great value stock. I really do. Anyways, I appreciate all of you for watching this video. If you made it this far, I'd really appreciate if you left a like or subscribe. I notice that when people engage on my videos, generally it helps the performance out a lot of the videos. I can literally see it in the analytics with a channel my size when even anyone engages with it. But anyways, if you just made it this far, I appreciate you watching the video. And I'll hopefully catch you guys next time. See you later.